We gotta start.
So, we know you guys just got back from spring break, and you're probably thinking, I have 8 weeks left. I have no idea how I'm going to do this and stand the two of you for that amount of time.
It's probably true. But guess what? You are about to embark on this exciting journey with us that will involve us listening and investigating some things related to a podcast about a man who is in jail for killing his ex-girlfriend, and we don't know if he really did it.
So get excited.
So we are going to be listening to a podcast about cereal, and we're going to talk about why you should care.
So a podcast is an audio program. It's like a radio show. It can be about anything. It can be one single segment that is anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour long, or it can be a series, which is what Serial is.
So podcasts actually go back to the days of radio. So people used to sit around and listen to the radio before they had TV. And clearly there's no visual component to a podcast, but they do use other things that media outlets use, like dialogue, music, sound effects, to help the listener imagine what's happening in the story.
Podcasts most recently have gained popularity, I would say within the past few years. The reason being they can address a large group of people. They're online, so they're easy to download. It's very convenient. It doesn't have to be at a specific time. It's very similar to Netflix. And we all know you like to Netflix and chill, so you might like podcast and chill.
So, podcasts are becoming popular, according to this writer in the Washington Post, primarily because people actually commute quite a bit, and we spend a lot of time commuting and working out and doing chores, and you can listen to the podcast while you do these things. I listen to podcasts all the time on my long drive from Mokina.
So why are we listening to a podcast? The reason is that we've always had a nonfiction unit attached to English 2, and we felt like this would be a cool way to get that nonfiction unit checked off. It's a new form of media. It's something that you're going to be encountering as you continue on with school. So we wanted to allow you an experience with it. It has to do with research, which is something that you'll have to continue next year in English 3. And it helps with listening skills. And we all know that that's an area we can improve in.
Also, some things that you want to be able to think about while we're listening are this idea of detecting bias. So anything is going to be biased in a produced podcast. So we'll think about different connotations for words, specific sources being used, who's reliable and who isn't as a narrator. We'll look at different perspectives, and you also want to remember that the podcast is an edited piece, so that means certain things are focused on and certain things are left out. You'll also be listening to a lot of language related to the court system and the law, which will be interesting.
So, Serial is a part of This American Life. This American Life is a radio program that usually has hour-long segments on different topics. It's actually Mrs. Mitchell and myself. It's our favorite series to listen to. In Serial, the only difference is it's an entire season, and it's just a spin-off of this particular program.
So a lot of people were listening to Serial. It kind of caught on pretty quickly when it came out in 2015, and people were talking about it all over the place.
It is about the investigation of the murder of Hae-Min Lee. So what they're investigating is if her ex-boyfriend, Adnan Syed, was the person that truly did convict the murder. There are a lot of questions, and Sarah Koenig and her team decided to produce this series to look into who done it.
The suspect is Adnan Syed. He's actually still in jail as we speak. They have been working on different components of perhaps having a retrial, but he is still incarcerated for murdering his ex-girlfriend.
The victim is Hae-Min Lee. She died at age 18. She was found in Leakin Park, and the cause of death was strangulation.
Jay Wilds is someone that you'll hear a lot about. He's a key witness, because no one's quite sure how much information he really knows.
There are some other key players. There's Stephanie, who is Jay's girlfriend. Rabia, who was a friend of Anan, and then Asia McLean actually ends up playing a key role as well.
So as we listen, you'll be able to come back to this particular slide that helps you understand who the main players are and how they're all connected to each other.
So as we begin, we want you to just think of some characteristics or conventions you need to have as we listen to Serial. You want to be unbiased because there's going to be multiple sides to stories. So you want to make sure you're understanding and being open to everything that's being said, that's being objective as well. Again, and just try to be accurate with what you're saying back, not just pick up on one piece, but actually try to look at all the pieces. So what you need to do now is you need to go to Schoology. You need to go to the Serial folder. There is a formative assessment that asks you to answer 5 questions on this screencast. So you need to go take that formative assessment right now, and that will show that you've completed this task.